All right, good morning. Okay, so I wanted to share with you some thoughts that have been on my mind and a little practice that I do that I thought you guys might enjoy as well. So, one of the thoughts that has really been on my mind lately is the fact that I believe right now there is a spiritual war essentially going on, and that is not a new idea, right? Um, but the way of fighting a spiritual war, I think, is something that, at least for me, has been new. In the past, I had this perspective of battles were won or lost based on how many people ended up living their lives like mine, right? And when I say that out loud now, it really sounds like bad. Let's just sum it up that way, right? Condescending, like arrogant, just, um, yeah. What I have since learned, and what I was always taught but just didn't fully understand, is that spiritual battles are really a battle between dark and light, right? And I'm going to do a whole another video, maybe after this one, maybe another day, I don't know. But talking about what the darkness is and talking about the dark side of this war. But for now, I want to talk about the light and the fact that if you're watching this video, I believe you are somebody who is a warrior of light. And that each of us, really inside, has this beautiful light that is just waiting for us to burst and show it and let it shine, right? Like we have so many things all throughout history, cultures, right, that talk about human light and the beauty and power of shining it. But I don't think we fully tapped into really understanding what that power is, where it comes from, why it exists, what it means. And that may be a whole nother video too. But what I have found is the state I am being in is actually way more powerful than anything I say, anything that I do. Those can be great, those can be powerful. I'm not saying don't do them, but in my experience, they come secondary to being, right? And the way I was always taught this as a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter day Saints was be an example, right? I'm going to talk a lot about being an example, being an example. And when I heard that, I always put that in terms of like, you need to live this perfect life. It needs to look like X, Y, and Z. And you are being an example of this ideal version of doing things, right? The older I have gotten, the more I have learned some of the flaws in that perspective. Mainly when, again, whole nother video, I've got a bunch to do, right? But when I study Christ and his teachings and how he went about his work, because he is ultimately my great exemplar, right? He's the one I want to be like. If you really kind of look at the narrative of Christ and his life, he was just a guy going about his daily experiences, right? And whatever the day presented him with, he responded to, right? He's going about his day. People start following him. They want to hear him talk about something. He goes to a little mountain. Everybody gathers around and they have a big chat for a while. And people are chatting for a while and they get hungry. And so he blesses some fish and bread and feeds people, right? I don't think he woke up that day and said, what can I do that would be really powerful to change people's lives? I know I'm going to do a miracle today. Oh, what kind of miracle should I do? You know what would be really cool? I'm going to do one with fish and with bread, right? No, he was just being him. And that's not to say that there weren't times where he actively went and took action, right? But one of the things that comes to mind right off the bat, like money changers in the temple, he was actively doing something in that moment, right? So again, please do not hear this message as taking action is bad, doing action is bad. It 100% is not. It's powerful, right? Because he didn't just sit there and be like, okay, yeah, I'm Christ, I'm awesome, and I'm here, and I'm supposed to change the world, and not do anything, right? But he went about his day, and whatever came that way, okay, the guys want to go fishing. Cool, let's go fishing today. A storm comes. Oh, I'm really tired. I'm going to go lie down for a little bit. The storm comes. Oh, man. They're having a really hard time steering this boat. I'm going to calm the storm. Right? Again, whatever the day presents him with, wonderful opportunity to teach. A big storm that could sink his boat. It didn't matter to him. He was still him, right? That didn't change. It didn't matter what was going on around him. He knew who he was. He knew what he was there to do from a very young age, right? I'm about my Father's business. He was anchored into his purpose. And as a result of simply being, he was able to take inspired action. And from that inspired action, miracles came. And I think this is a really, really neat pattern for us to follow in our own lives. How much time are we taking discovering what our purpose is? Who am I? What does my Heavenly Father, my Heavenly Mother expect of me today? What kind of person am I going to be? No matter what comes up, the good stuff, the bad stuff, the chaos all around me, right? What is that centers me, right? And we talk and we teach about Christ being our rock. Why? Because he already knew how to do that. And so if you go to someone who is already solid in who they are, what they're meant to do, and you stand on top of that with them, you have a far greater ability to stand firm in who you are and what you're meant to do, right? So, long way to say, I've been focusing a lot of my time and energy on answering these questions and on really centering myself, grounding myself, taking that time for me so that no matter what happens in my day, I can show up the way I want to show up, right? I'm not going throughout my day waking up and being like, okay, please let no storms come my way, that I have awesome opportunities to talk and teach people, and let's not go hungry either. That would be great. Thanks. And luck of the draw. Let's see what happens today. Am I going to be mad and afraid? Am I going to have an awesome day connecting with people? Let's see what decides to come my way. And then I'm just reacting to whatever happens in my day. I used to do this, okay? I still do it some days, right? But I have found so much power. And instead, even the night before, deciding what kind of person do I want to show up tomorrow as. Sometimes I write it down. I often include it in my daily or my nightly prayers. And in the morning, even before I get out of bed, sometimes I'll just lie there in bed and think about, okay, I want to be kind. I want to be patient. I want to be gentle with myself and others. I want to be filled with compassion. I want to spread light. And I focus on what does that feel like. And I imagine the Emily kind of like being the hero of your own movie, right? So if somebody's, making a movie about my life, and who's going to play the character of me? And what does that person who's rocking her day, no matter what comes her way, what does she look like? What does she act like? What does she do? And every time I come up against something in my day that starts to ruffle my feathers, right? And I want to fall into that reacting mode, I jump back up. What is that version of me? Superhero, Wonder Woman Emily. How does she respond in this moment? Oh, yeah. She could call names. She could argue. Or she could remember, yeah, her husband didn't get a lot of sleep last night. And he was working pretty hard. And he's kind of afraid too. And he really was just trying to help. So instead of going after him, what's my truth? What's honest for me in this moment? Okay, I'm feeling this way. I don't appreciate these things. I do appreciate these things. I would love for us to experience that, right? These are some of the steps we can do. And I can do a whole other video, or if you want even more help, this is what we do in my coaching programs, right? You bring that situation and we tap into what does your movie hero version of you, how do they respond in that moment? And we make it reality. It's pretty snazzy.